What is up, you guys? I am Missy Renee, and in today's video, we're going to talk about the illusion of separation and how this affects your manifestations. And speaking of manifestation, if this is a topic that you are interested in learning more about, if you are interested in learning more about conscious creation, then definitely do not forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon so that way you are notified when I release new videos every week. If you're interested in more resources such as one-on-one coaching, I will have the links down below to that and my brand new membership group, so definitely do not forget to check them out. And I decided to make this video after giving it a lot of thought, and it is some reiteration of what I've talked about, but this is still something that seems to be overlooked and really not given enough attention to. And it's the reason ultimately that we are struggling so much with manifesting. And this is such a critical topic to cover, so I really cannot talk about it and explain it enough. Because I understand that for those of you who are new, or for those of you that have been struggling with applying the law, it comes down to grasping this concept, the concept of separation. So I'm going to talk today about separation, the illusion of it, and how you can get yourself over this hurdle and past this illusion so you can finally manifest whatever it is that you want. So if you are interested in learning more about how to overcome this, if you're interested in learning more about some of the key aspects that you need to know when it comes to manifesting, then definitely don't forget to stick around through the end of the video, because I'm going to talk all about separation and what you need to know to get yourself out of this illusion and in that state of the wish fulfilled so you can finally manifest whatever it is that you want. And just a really quick announcement before we get started, I want to let you guys know about my brand new membership group, the Conscious Creator Society. I'm going to be delivering new resources, new tools, new workshops every month for those of you that are interested in joining a community of like-minded conscious creators, and for those that are interested in leveling up on the creative conscious process. This membership group comes with a bunch of perks and really helpful tools that are going to be a tremendous help for you on your journey. If you are interested in checking it out and learning more, I have the links down below with more info and where to sign up. So check it out, sign up, and I will see you all there. So when I'm considering what content to put out for all of you, I always revert back to what did I wish I knew when I was new to this? What are the things that I wish that I had really understood when I was new on my conscious creation journey and my journey to self-mastery? And I give this a lot of thought because unfortunately there is so much information out there, and it can be just trying to filter through a whole bunch of noise and going through a whole bunch of hoops and a lot of trial and error and a lot of testing different theories and testing different gurus and teachers and different techniques, and it can just be so draining at the end of the day. So what really inspired me to do this is thinking about what the biggest underlying issues are when it comes to manifesting, and why we struggle and why this is so hard for some people to really get the hang of this. And one of the things that I keep coming back to time and time again, and this is something that I see in my clients and in the people that I talk to in my day-to-day, is the illusion of separation. So I figure it's time to make a video and really talk about this, because this is the thing that gets us hung up and causes us to stumble when we are new at this. One common trait that I notice over and over again, because we have this illusion of separation, is that for most of us, we feel like we need to constantly search and search, and we act as if there is some kind of deep formula that we need to solve or that we need to discover in order to master this. We keep looking for things outside of ourselves in order to manifest. I know I certainly did this for years, years and years and years. And this is in part because of how a lot of mainstream law of attraction teachers teach manifesting. They're still teaching manifestation through the lens of separation and free will, and that we are all disconnected from one another, and that we are not the operant power. And I guess it's because this is an easier concept to swallow, since this is how we've always looked at life anyways. This is always how we have viewed our outside circumstances. We have viewed them as separate from us. The illusion of separation is a powerful illusion. We feel like we are distinct and connected and different from everything in our world. So we feel that our circumstances are separate from us, that the events of our life are separate from us, the people in our life are separate from us, and that there is something out there that we need to do or that we need to get in order to really master this. So really the reason that there is so much struggle going into this boils down to one huge misconception, and that is you still look at the outside 3D world as real, and you look at your imagination as make-believe. You think that the two are separate from one another, that your 3D reality and your imagination are two distinct and separate things. And the truth is, you are not separate from your imaginal acts. The separation that you experience in your 3D is just an illusion. So going into this practice and really returning to this as a lifestyle, there needs to be the underlying knowing that what you imagine is just as real as your 3D reality. And I know that that can seem really difficult to digest and to comprehend, but you must understand this if you are to find yourself successful with the law and mastering manifestation. It is this illusion of separation that is going to trip you up every time. And it is this belief that your 3D reality is real and that your imagination is just make-believe that makes everything so much more complicated and discombobulated and convoluted than it needs to be. So first and foremost, it is imperative to really know and understand that what you imagine is 100% as real as what you experience in your day-to-day. Your imagination is not make-believe, it is just as solidly real as the outside world around you. So when you are doing SATs or any other imaginal practice that you find useful and that you find helpful, you need to go in with the viewpoint that what you are imagining is just as solidly real as what you are experiencing on the outside. Not that it's going to happen, not that imagining is going to facilitate it happening in the future, but going in with the understanding that what you are imagining is just as solidly real as the 3D reality, and that it is happening right now. It is just as much of a fact as what's going on with you in real life. When you imagine something, it's happening right now, and it's already real, and it's already done. That imaginal act is not waiting somewhere in some escrow or some vortex that is going to happen later. It's happening right now, and it is just as solidly real as your 3D experience. So we must adopt and get used to the idea that what we imagine is not make-believe. It is just as real as the 3D around you. And this was a huge learning curve for me when I was new at this. Just like the rest of you, I got into manifestation because I wanted to get things. I wanted to do something that would facilitate me getting the things that I want. And just like most of you, and just like most people, I was under the assumption that if I did the techniques, that was my way of getting it, getting my desire. This is the first and probably biggest hurdle that you're going to need to overcome. And that is, there is nothing to get. There's only things for you to become. And that difference may be very subtle, but it makes all the difference in the world. And again, I know that this can be really difficult to comprehend, and it can be a hard pill to swallow, because we've been looking at this illusion of separation our whole lives, and we have the utmost confidence in that fact that everything is separate from us, and that what we imagine is not the real 3D reality, that it's just make-believe. I'm sure, just like most people, you grew up being told to get your head out of the clouds and stop just pretending and be rational and reasonable. All of these things have helped form the concept that just further cements the illusion of separation, and that what we imagine is separate from the external 3D reality. And for me, one of the most effective ways that I was able to overcome this illusion of separation was to really have an understanding of how all of this works. If you have watched my channel, or if you are a follower of Neville, then you already know that creation is finished. All things already exist. Every scenario, every circumstance, every event, every experience, every thought, every person, every version of every person, past, present, future, already exists right now in one of infinite states or realities to experience. Quantum physics is showing us more and more that this is the case. Every reality or state of being already exists in the one true reality, and that is consciousness. All things exist in consciousness, and that's what I mean, and that's what Neville means when we talk about everything already exists and how consciousness is the only reality. All things exist within consciousness. So everything that you can possibly imagine, every scenario that you can possibly think about, or anything that you can possibly comprehend, already exists in one of these infinite states, and that lives all within you, within consciousness. And the way that we move through different states, and the way that we move through these states of consciousness, is through the power of our imagination. Our imagination is the gateway to reality. Imagination is the gateway to consciousness. It's through imagination that you can conceive and construct a whole new state of being and a whole new reality to experience. This is how we have always been moving through these different states of consciousness, through our imagination. And all of these other states that we are not currently occupying all exist as possibilities. It is not until you step into that state and occupy that state that it becomes your 3D experience. And what I mean when I say stepping into a state and occupying a state is feeling that state. When you construct in imagination the scene or the person or whatever you desire to experience, once you construct it in imagination and feel yourself in that state, that is occupying it. That is how it manifests into your 3D reality. So we need to snap out of this illusion of separation, and we need to realize that whatever we desire is already ours. We already have it. Our desire already exists as one of infinite states that we can experience. Right now, if you are not dwelling in it, your desired state only exists as a mere possibility. But once you have gone into imagination and stepped into that state and have started occupying that state by feeling what it would feel like if you are now the person that you desire to be, or that you now have the thing that you desire to have, once you do that, it's yours. It's yours for the taking. So we need to stop ourselves from insisting on buying this illusion of separation, and that we are separate from our desires, and that we need to do a bunch of things to get our desire. There is nothing to get. We only must become. And when you think about it, if you've been manifesting your whole life, you haven't spent your whole life worrying about stats. And if you're doing stats right, you haven't spent your whole life worrying about if your affirmations are correct and if they're really coming true or if they're really coming to pass. No, you manifest what you feel is true. So let me give you guys another excerpt from Neville to help explain this and break it all down. So, where are you staying? Well, I will tell you where you are staying. That state of consciousness to which you most often return constitutes your dwelling place. You can watch it. Morning, noon, and night, you keep moving psychologically back to a certain state. You think you overcome it, and then you watch. Observe what you are doing. You will find yourself coming back time and time again to that same state with your same problems. Man is the ark of God, and like the ark, all things exist in the human imagination, which is the reality of man. Man's true being is his own wonderful human imagination. All things exist in the human imagination. When we are told the ark is built on 3 levels, the lower, the second, and the third deck, it's the physical, the psychological, and the spiritual. Where you live physically, that's easy to discover. Whether you tell it to me or not, I could easily find out where you live. Where you live psychologically is more difficult, but I'll tell you where you live psychologically. That state of consciousness where you most often return constitutes your psychological dwelling. You may live in a palace physically and dwell in a cesspool psychologically. Well, that state of consciousness, you may have a fortune, and night after night you are afraid of losing it. That's where you live, in the state of fear. You may have nothing, and yet live night after night in the state of opulence. That's where you live psychologically. But I'll tell you, you and I live spiritually in the same place. We live as one man. Contracting our infinite senses, we behold multiple, or expanding, we behold one. So where do you live? Well, where you live psychologically is entirely up to you. I repeat, you live in that state of consciousness to which you most often return. You could tonight determine to be, and you name it, want to be wealthy? All right, it means nothing. It's a shadow anyway. Put it to this, what you want. You want to be secure? What would the feeling be like if you were? You assume that you are, and that assumption may be denied at the moment of assumption, denied by your sense, denied by reason, but if you dare to persist in that assumption, it will harden into fact. So there are several different levels of this world and what constitutes this world. The problem becomes when we are too fixated on the physical realm, because unlike what we have always believed and what we are always taught and what we've always assumed, it is the psychological that determines the physical and not the other way around. So tonight, go into your imagination as if it were just as solidly real as this 3D world around you, because the truth is, it is just as real. as the 3D world around you. Live in your desire psychologically, and in a way that you could never consciously conceive, in a way that seems almost miraculous and yet so natural that it would happen that way naturally anyway. Your assumption, that psychological dwelling place, will harden into fact. But you must have faith, and you must know that imagination is the only reality. No longer do you need to go without. All that is required is to go within. Once you go within, anything is possible, and all of it is already yours. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, do not forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you're interested in checking out any of my other resources, I will have links down below to one-on-one coaching, my blog, my social channels, and my new membership group. So definitely don't forget to check them out. Also, do not forget to check out these videos over here. Each video is a different topic, but it all pertains in how to manifest the best life possible. So until we meet again, take care, be well, and never forget that your imagination is the true reality. Happy manifesting, guys.